Well, I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to have this kind of information. It is critical information. It's about time we had a serious conversation about huge EIN only business loans. So, in today's show, I want to have a quick convo about Fundera, US Business Funding, Breakout Capital, SmartBiz, and LoanBuilder by PayPal. So, what I want to do, I want to do a comparative analysis of those five players. You're going to love this show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome City Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as awesome as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. I want to talk to you about massive business loans with EIN only, up to $10 million guaranteed approval. And today we are comparing and contrasting the remarkable business funding solutions offered by Fundera versus US Business Funding versus Breakout Capital versus SmartBiz versus LoanBuilder, a PayPal service. This is so important. Now, before I get into the actual review here, I want to specify a few things. When we speak about huge EIN only business loans, there are two things you have to pay attention to. First, you need to understand the whole concept of EIN. An EIN is kind of cool. It's very easy to get. You can be a sole proprietorship and get an EIN, but it doesn't stop there. You got to have an EIN and make sure that your company is legally structured. You got to have a company, not a solopreneur, not a sole proprietorship. You got to have an LLC, LLP, C Corp, S Corp, you name it, but it has to be a company. And operationally speaking, legally speaking, financially speaking, you have to run the company as a separate entity from your personal affairs. Very important. This is going to help you get the loan you need, the credit card you need, all kinds of financing that you need. And so when we speak about EIN only, once you're able to segregate the business's activities from your personal activities, you get to a point where personal credit is no longer important, right? Because again, the company is operating as a separate entity. So even if you have poor credit, fair credit, no credit, it doesn't matter, because your business will still qualify for the loan you're applying for. And the cool thing about all the players that we are going to talk about today is that most of them, they offer what I call collateralized loans. In other words, those are loans that are backed up by collateral, by some underlying asset. It could be your accounts receivable. It could be the equipment in the case of equipment financing. It can be accounts receivable in terms of invoice factoring or invoice financing. Okay. And when we speak about EIN only business loans from Fundera, US Business Funding, Breakout Capital, SmartBiz, and LoanBuilder, you have the whole 9 yards. So you can access through those players. You can access term loans. You can access lines of credit, equipment loans, merchant cash advances, invoice financing arrangements, invoice factoring arrangements. Of course, all of those loans are, guess what? EIN only. One thing I want to say here is that the best way to get a loan, an EIN only loan, is to have to get ready for your paperwork. Because we hear from our viewers, some of our viewers say, well, I applied and they just, I had a hard pull. Well, you had a hard pull because you didn't do the right thing during the application. You have to write a business plan. You need to have a solid application, loan application. You need to put forward things like your business's permits and licenses. You need to talk to the lender about the asset you want to buy, how much you want to buy. So all these elements are part of, or they constitute what I call the fulcrum, the cornerstone of a big business loan application, of a compelling business loan application. If you don't do this, of course, you're going to get a hard pull because, if you just have an EIN and you think an EIN only business loan just requires an EIN, then you're wrong. This kind of loans requires way more than just a number, a 9-digit number that you got from the IRS. So what I'm trying to say here is that to increase your chances of getting a business loan an EIN only business loan from Fundera, US Business Funding, Breakout Capital, SmartBiz, or LoanBuilder, you need to actually work on your business plan, your licenses and reports. You need to have a business bank account, checking account. You need to have a business credit card if possible. You need to have pay employer taxes. You need to have business tax returns. You got to have all those things all those elements that show the lender that you are actually operating a legit business and not just a side gig. Okay, there are other things you can do also. Make sure that you pay attention to the loan options, the eligibility requirements, the cost, okay, the customer service. Luckily, in the five lenders we are reviewing today, they all have, I would say, somewhat excellent customer service. Okay, so but you want to make sure that you look at the particulars of the loan to make sure the loan actually suits your specific business model. You want to pay attention also to the lender's requirements when it comes to minimum personal credit score. Even though, again, we're speaking about EIN only, some lenders still are interested in knowing what's going on in the founder's personal life in terms of their credit. But again, this criterion will not matter when it comes to underwriting your EIN only business loan. You want to pay attention to the lender's requirement when it comes to minimum years in business and minimum annual revenue. Okay. And you also want to pay attention to cost. So by cost, I mean APR, down payments, factor rate, origination fee, underwriting fees, closing costs, and additional fees. Before I get into the actual review here, please check out our short evaluation video. It tells you the criteria we use, the elements we use to review, categorize, and list all business lenders on this show. Check this out. All right, folks, let's first get into the actual ranking here, the actual compare and contrast. First candidate, Fundera. So Fundera, when you think about Fundera, I want you to think about two things. Fundera is a business funding matchmaker. In other words, they're not a direct lender. Okay, what they do is they have a network of lenders, and they basically will disseminate your application to them, and everything happens automatically. They don't do it they don't do it physically, right? They spread the application to their lender network, and you'll get offers within minutes, sometimes within minutes, all right? And within one day for most borrowers, but within minutes for some. And they want you to have, so that's the first thing with Fundera. The second thing here is that you have a constellation of loans because they have such a wide network of lenders. You have a constellation of loans, and it's up to you to actually choose the best loan for yourself. And you got to really, you have to base the decision on a lot of things, including the APR, right? The cost overall, the repayment terms in terms of maturity of the loan, your personal situation, the lender's reputation, right? Customer service, very important. And another thing that I need to mention here when we speak about Fundera is that for their EIN only business loan, they want you to be in business for at least 1 to 2 years. Required annual revenue, $100,000 minimum. You can borrow from $50,000 all the way to $250,000, $250,000, and minimum time to funding 1 day. What are the pros and cons here? And the pros, there are multiple types of financing available because of the lender network that I spoke about. We love the fact that with Fundera, you have transparency in terms of the cost. They have great, I will even say, stellar customer service. And there are multiple ways to contact customer support via email, via mail. Sometimes they will text you, and they even can call you. So they really are available to borrowers. What about the drawbacks? Rates can be expensive, and they might charge some additional fees. And in terms of their loan offers, they offer everything from installment loans, short-term loans, lines of credit, equipment loans, and SBA loans. And again, all of these are EIN only. Now let's talk about US business funding. We love US Business Funding because this is a company that has been constantly innovating in the last 5 years. They are improving their customer service. They're improving the loan application process. Fantastic. And they do offer many different financial products to help business owners get the capital they need. And so they want you to be in business for at least 1 to 2 years. You can borrow from $50,000 to $1 million. Minimum time to funding 1 week or less. Okay, this is pretty good. And they offer three types of loans, EIN only loans. So you have equipment financing arrangements, SBA loans, and they have working capital loans. In some cases, we've seen that they also might approve merchant cash advances. So this is pretty good also. What are the pros and cons of US Business Funding? The pros, they actually have flexible borrower qualification criteria. So that's great for us. And because they are able to tap into, they have been doing this kind of stuff for so many years now. They're able to provide high borrowing amounts. There are multiple types of financing available. We love the fact that the application process is really fast and easy, very, very fast. And they have great customer service also. And one thing I also love is that the funds are dispersed quickly, that's for sure. What about the cons? They do have high rates. And depending on your state, depending on your industry, they might charge additional fees like closing fees or loan processing fees. All right, this is something you need to be aware of. One thing I want to say here is that overall, when you think about US Business Funding, I want you to think about a company that will work with you. They've been around for a while. They have excellent ratings from Triple B, so A plus, the Better Business Bureau. Their ratings on Trustpilot are also positive, and they've been around for a while, so they will work with you. What usually happens is that once you apply, and if they need more information from you, they'll contact you. Please be responsive, because they actually process things really fast. They will contact you. They'll be responsive, and once your loan gets approved, please also maintain a relationship with your customer rep. You want to actually, with your loan representatives. That way, if there is stuff going on in your company, you can inform them. And even better, you can parlay that relationship into a better and larger business loan in the future. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm still doing a compare and contrast between Fundera, US Business Funding, Breakout Capital, SmartBiz, and LoanBuilder by PayPal. And I've already covered US Business Funding and Fundera. Now let's talk about Breakout Capital. Great name, right? Do they have a great service? Let's see. So with Breakout Capital, what you get EIN only business financing solutions for small businesses. And they do have low borrower qualifications, which is pretty good. If you have bad credit or low credit or fair credit, you might qualify. And they have also prepayment discounts and easy renewal process. And the minimum time in business, 1 to 2 years. They want you to, in some cases, they want to have a personal credit score of at least 550. Okay, but again, since we're talking about EIN only business loans, it doesn't matter. But in some cases, we've seen in our research, in very rare cases, they might ask for a personal credit score. They want you to have an annual business revenue of at least $100,000, and you can borrow from $50,000 to $250,000, and minimum time to funding 1 day. And what's very interesting with Breakout Capital is that they offer a wide range of business loans. And they offer short-term business loans. They offer invoice factoring services. They offer invoice financing services. They offer working capital loans in some cases. They also offer the collateralized loans such as asset-based loans. And we love the fact that they're not really stringent when it comes to specific time in business, revenue, or credit score. Okay, what are the pros and cons here? The pros. The Breakout Capital has financing solutions that are suitable for small businesses and startups. They have relaxed borrower qualifications. They have competitive terms and fees, and they have excellent customer support. In terms of their drawbacks, they have potentially high factor rates. Now, of course, when we speak about alternative lenders such as Breakout Capital, of course, you are going to have high funding cost. It just comes with the territory. That's just the way things goes here, right? So, but what you want to see is you want to analyze Breakout Capital's funding offer, in the larger context of whether or not it's a great funder, a great lender for your business. What's the opportunity cost? Would you rather pay 50% to a lender or 30% to a lender and then seize that business opportunity, expand your business, and earn an ROI of 300% or 400% or 500%? That's the kind of mental calculus you need to go through and determine whether or not it makes sense for you. For us, Breakout Capital is still a great player to consider. Let's now talk about SmartBiz. And SmartBiz also is a great lender that you might want to consider. And SmartBiz provides SBA 7A and PPP loans to small and large businesses. Now they offer other kinds of loans, not just the PPP loans and the SBA 7A loans. In some cases, they also offer a working capital loan option and business term loan also. And of course, all of this are EIN only. What we love is that SmartBiz has a pretty interesting, I would say, loan requirements or loan terms. So minimum time in business, 1 to 2 years. Required annual revenue, that's $100,000. In the very rare cases where they require a personal credit score, the minimum is $550. And you can borrow from $50,000 all the way to $1 million. And the minimum time to funding is 1 week or less. Okay. And what we love with SmartBiz is that you have a very easy application process. The customer service is kind of stellar. That's fantastic. You have speed of funding, and we love the fact that everything is clear. You know, there is advertising transparency, and they have excellent loan terms. So this is very important. Speaking of which, let's just do let's quickly review the pros and cons here. The pros: they have an excellent public reputation, low interest rates compared to the competition, no prepayment penalty, transparent terms and fees. I mean, speaking of transparency, I mean, honestly, SmartBiz, you guys, kudos to you guys. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, we've analyzed hundreds of lenders, and you guys are on top, or among the top lenders who are very transparent. So that's fantastic. Keep at it. Just keep doing that. All right. You also have great customer support. That's wonderful. What about the cons? We've seen that the application process can be lengthy at times, even though it's fast once you have all the paperwork. But to go through it takes some time, and there are some additional fees in terms of depending on the loan and the borrower. Something to keep in mind. And last but not the least, let's just review now LoanBuilder. So LoanBuilder, for those of you who are not familiar with the service, it's a PayPal service, all right? It's a company owned by PayPal. And they stand out with flexible terms, low borrower requirements, and relatively cheap loans. Again, cheap EIN only loans. So this is great if your business, this kind of loans from LoanBuilder is great if your business needs a short-term infusion of capital. The minimum time in business, less than 1 year. Minimum time to funding, 1 day. You can borrow from $50,000 all the way to $1 million. Required annual revenue, less than $100,000. And in the rare cases where your personal credit score might be required in addition to the EIN number, the LoanBuilder asks for a minimum credit score of a 550. Okay. And what I want to say here is that LoanBuilder is a sister business to PayPal Working Capital. The only thing is that PayPal Working Capital is only available to PayPal seller. So if you're a PayPal seller, then you will qualify. But if you're not, then you can't qualify. By contrast, LoanBuilder can be used by most businesses, PayPal sellers, or otherwise. So that's the distinction you want to keep in mind. If you're currently selling with PayPal, then go ahead and apply for both. But if you're not selling with PayPal, then apply for the PayPal, the LoanBuilder service. And what are the pros and cons here? The pros, the borrower criteria are lower than what you would find at banks. You have low credit score requirements, no extra fees. The application process is fast and easy, and funds get dispersed quickly. In addition to the fact that PayPal is an established business with a stellar reputation, so this should count for something, right? What about the cons here, the drawbacks? The loans provided by LoanBuilder are not available to businesses in some industries, including adult and weapons. Some kind of industries that are problematic, quote unquote problematic. And there are no discounts for repaying early. There's no long-term financing option available, and in some cases, depending on where you live, LoanBuilder might ask for a blanket lien. So something to keep in mind. All right, folks. So basically, which one should you choose? So when you think about Fundera versus US Business Funding versus Breakout Capital versus SmartBiz versus LoanBuilder, if you're looking for a huge EIN only business loan, in other words, you want to get a loan that can go as high as $10 million, which should you go to? First of all, when we speak, if we just have to speak to just the loan amount, LoanBuilder, they limit it at 1 million, the amount you can borrow. SmartBiz is 1 million. Breakout Capital, 250. US Business Funding, more than 1 million. And Fundera, 250. So Fundera and Breakout Capital are automatically eliminated, right? If you're looking for a huge amount. Now, if you want to go past 1 million, then you want to talk to US Business Funding. You want to talk to SmartBiz, and you want to talk to PayPal. Again, even though they put on their website that the limit is 1 million, if you have the right application and the right business plan, they might fund you all the way to $10 million. One thing I want to say before making a decision, before helping you make a decision, is that to choose a loan, to choose an EIN business loan for your company, you have to pay attention to the loan options. You have to review the eligibility requirements. You have to review the cost, and you have to see what kind of hand-holding you need in terms of customer service. The cost entail a wide range of criteria. So we are talking about APR, annual percentage rates. We have additional fees that you need to factor into the whole calculation. Closing costs, underwriting fees, right? Those are important because at the end of the day, this is money coming out of your pocket, either coming out of the loan itself as a discount to the loan or something you have to pay aside. So it's important. Also, part of the cost, you have origination fee, you have factor rate, and you have down payments. Well, the cost is not really a down payment is not a cost, but it's a capital outflow. It's a cash outflow. So you need to take that into account when you do the analysis. And you also want to pay attention to the eligibility requirements from the lender. As I said before, sometimes they might ask you to have minimum credit score at the personal level and at the business level. They might want you to have minimum years in business, in some cases, in minimum months in business, and they want you to have minimum annual revenue. So you have to actually think about all those criteria and compare and contrast which one of the 5 suit your particular situation. Again, as I said earlier, when we speak purely about the loan amount, with Fundera and Breakout Capital, you can't go above $250,000. I'm not saying that they're not good lenders. It's just that the loan amounts, they have capped it, and this is part of their lending model, their business model. If you want more, then you have to speak to LoanBuilder. You have to have SmartBiz in your corner, or you have to talk to Breakout Capital, or you have to talk to US Business Funding. Something you just need to know. And of course, there are other lenders that we have reviewed on this show. So if you don't find your luck in any of the 5 players here, watch our other videos that will tell you exactly what kind of great business loan providers are available out there on an EIN only basis. All right, folks, our pick in today's show is LoanBuilder. We have actually assigned a score of 9.5 over 10 to LoanBuilder. SmartBiz 9 over 10. Breakout Capital, 8.5 over 10. Fundera, 8 over 10. US Business Funding, 8 over 10. Thank you so much for your attention, folks. I will speak to you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.